I invited Seth and Jim here. Seth and I are both part of the World Future Studies Federation, and Seth realized that on this email list that we're both on, that even though we were talking to people around the world, he and I were a few blocks away. So we decided to get together just for that, just because we're part of the same group. And we sat down and we started talking, and I told him what I was doing, and he told me what he was doing, and we realized that there's this very strong connection here. The interest that I have on sustainability and climate, and also land use, as it happens, was very much in sync with what they were doing. And Seth and Jim, at a lovely dinner at their house, told me about what they've been learning about the potential for grasslands to sequester carbon, to a degree that was surprising to me, and I wanted to bring them here and have them talk to you and explain what they've been learning and to share it with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. I'm Seth Itzkan. I just want to make a very brief introduction before Jim goes. Basically what I want to say is thank you very much to the Stockholm Environment Institute. I wanted to be part of the official broadcast. We're very honored to be here, and it's very gracious, and you're already a very friendly community. And I met Eric sort of serendipitously, and we're really looking forward to this, and particularly because this is like a think tank and a research institute, we think there's great promise here for this institute particularly. I mean, I hail from Tufts. I'm a graduate of the Tufts engineering program. I've lived and worked around here most of my life. I still have a strong affiliation with Tufts, and so I'd love to be involved, and I think this is a great opportunity. And also, I just want to say that I am a technologist. I come from a technology background, and so here's a soil presentation. And my mentor for that has been my colleague Jim here, but I've come to realize that soil is technology. It's nature's technology. And there's incredible intelligence involved, and there's a huge optimization problem that nature solves every day, which is how to get carbon to where it needs to go. Imagine if we're trying to figure that out now, but nature figured that out billions of years ago. So without further ado, here's my colleague Jim Laurie.
Hi, I'm Jim, and I went to college in Texas at Rice University, and during that time we thought we were going to outer space, and it was real exciting to be at Rice when the astronauts are actually on the campus. And the future always turns out different than you thought it was going to. And I ended up in the chemical industry, and but I started doing wastewater research with ecosystems in the chemical industry. And what was interesting about that is the more biodiverse we made whatever was in that waste stream, it became a nutrient. And we found out that nature could clean water incredibly well. And we use fish as our quality control people. If they were happy, then we thought we were doing a good job. So they lived downstream, and we thought of in those systems, we thought of the marsh system that the water went through for about 18 hours. We thought of that as the immune system for the fish. It was part of the fish immune system. And I'd like you to think in kind of those terms here. How do we put these pieces together? Most biology the last 50 years or so has been fragmentary, and we're trying to figure out how do we integrate the pieces and see how the whole system works. So okay, climate change. We're gonna give you a new perspective on that, and then we're gonna show how nature is part of this. And I want to introduce this idea of holistic management, which I'm steeped in right now, and where that came from. And then we want to give you some tools to think about and to share, because we'd like to see you again. So next one. Prodigious, I like that word, prodigious amounts of atmospheric carbon. Restoration of depleted soils and fisheries will create economic opportunities. It'll feed people, it'll keep them working. Greenhouse conditions and ocean dead zones are the predecessors of most extinction episodes. This is new stuff. This is something that a few years ago people wouldn't say with a lot of resoluteness. And restoring soils can reverse the spread of ocean dead zones, bring back the polar ice, and allow the ocean to breathe again. That's really, really huge. So okay, here we are. A lot of you have seen this cycle, And if we go from today all the way back 400,000 years, they've looked at the ice cores and they can figure out what the atmosphere looked like. And you notice here that all during that time, it never went above 300. And you know, if it went below 250, we were pushing ice ages. And most of the time, we were actually in an ice age. So that's kind of how we evolved as humans, was in ice ages and adapting that way. If this is kind of a blowout, and you see over the last 1,000 years, we've been below 300, and it hasn't even varied very much, okay, until, the last 200 years. And that's the problem. We're going into an area that, on this chart, is pretty scary. So, next. And this is a chart, this came out, Peter Ward is a paleontologist, and he studied extinction episodes. And when he wrote a book that came out in 2007, and this is what changed my life, because it made total sense to me. Being a wastewater guy, I knew what it was like when you started smelling hydrogen sulfide coming out of the process.
Jim, why don't you show the book? And
It's Under a Green Sky,
Right there.
and that book is right here, yeah. It happens to be on your shelf. But it was a lot of passion in this book, and I knew enough about what his research was that he told the story of his research. And so here, you notice this chart here. Now this is backwards. This is today and going backwards. And you notice that everywhere there's a white dot, they figured out how to measure carbon in oils in rocks. You know, and they can make estimates about what the CO2 levels were. As you go back farther and farther, you know, there's a lot more error bars. But when they started putting it together every 10 million years, it's not very good resolution. But notice that there's white dots here. And everywhere there's a white dot was a period where the fossil record changed. And so they'd say that was an extinction episode. Now, do you notice anything about those white dots?
Yeah.
What do you notice? As you get closer to now,
Tend to be on the CO2
here's 4,000 ppm CO2. The Permian extinction, the worst one ever, you know, CO2 levels went way up over 3,000, you know. And then as we get, look at here, we don't get above that. It's like there's this huge slope here. And go ahead, show the next slide.